Hey there, fellow garden enthusiasts. Welcome back to Hydrohaven, where we're always looking for natural, time-tested solutions to our gardening challenges. Today, I'm excited to share with you a transformative method for bringing life back to that lifeless, compacted soil in your raised beds. A technique I learned while spending time with an Amish community in Lancaster County. This isn't just any soil amendment approach, it's a holistic system that respects the natural cycles of the earth and draws on generations of wisdom. So let's dig in and discover how you can implement this remarkable soil revival method in your own garden. Before we jump into the solution, let's understand what we're dealing with. Dead soil isn't just unproductive, it's soil that has lost its living ecosystem. When you pick up truly healthy soil, it should crumble gently between your fingers, smell earthy and sweet, and be teeming with visible and microscopic life. Dead soil, on the other hand, often appears pale, clumps together when wet and turns brick-hard when dry, lacks that rich forest scent, and shows little evidence of worm activity or organic matter. In raised beds, soil tends to deteriorate faster than in-ground gardens because the limited volume means nutrients get depleted more quickly, and the intensive growing we typically do in raised beds accelerates this process. What's more, many gardeners unknowingly contribute to soil degradation by over-tilling, using synthetic fertilizers that kill beneficial microorganisms, or failing to replenish organic matter. The cornerstone of the Amish approach to soil revival is what they call living compost, or what we might recognize as green manure. This isn't about spreading animal manure, though that has its place too. Instead, this method involves growing specific plants directly in your dead soil with the intention of chopping them down at a strategic time and letting them decompose right where they grew. What makes the Amish approach distinctive is their careful selection of plants, precise timing, and the way they incorporate these green manures. All without power equipment. It's a system refined over generations to work with nature rather than against it. The Amish families I visited used what they called a 7-seed blessing, a specific combination of plants where each serves a unique purpose in soil restoration. Their traditional mix includes a thoughtful blend of diverse plants working in harmony. Buckwheat forms the foundation as a quick-growing crop that excels at mining phosphorus from soil and making it available to future plants. This is complemented by clover, either red or crimson, a nitrogen-fixing powerhouse that puts this essential nutrient back into depleted soil. Winter rye brings its extensive root system that breaks up compacted soil layers and adds tremendous amounts of organic matter. Daikon radish serves as natural tillers that send taproots deep into the soil, creating channels for water, air, and earthworms to travel through. Sunflowers contribute with their deep roots that draw up minerals from subsoil layers, essentially mining nutrients from below that would otherwise remain inaccessible. Flax adds another dimension with natural compounds that help suppress certain soil pathogens. Finally, vetch rounds out the mix as another nitrogen fixer that adds diversity and resilience to the growing system. The beauty of this approach is that you're essentially growing your own soil amendments right where they're needed. Each plant in this carefully selected mix contributes different benefits, creating a synergistic effect that no single amendment could achieve. In Amish gardening, timing follows natural rhythms rather than a strict calendar. For most raised bed gardens, the ideal time to implement this method is after your summer harvest winds down, typically in early fall. This gives the green manure crop time to establish before winter while allowing for decomposition to occur over the winter months, preparing your beds for spring planting. If you're dealing with truly dead soil, consider dedicating an entire growing season to soil restoration. While it might feel like a sacrifice to skip a growing cycle, the long-term benefits far outweigh the temporary loss of production. A single season of intentional restoration can give you many years of improved harvests. Begin by clearing your raised bed of any existing plants and loosening the top layer of soil gently with a fork. Don't till deeply, just enough to create a seed bed. The Amish way emphasizes minimal soil disturbance. Broadcast your seed mix evenly across the bed. The Amish gardeners I observed used a higher seeding rate than conventional recommendations. They aim for a dense stand that will maximize root penetration and organic matter production. Aim for about 1.5 times the standard seeding rate for each component in your mix. Lightly rake the seeds into the soil surface and water thoroughly. Keep the bed consistently moist until germination occurs. The diverse seed mix means different seeds will germinate at different rates, so you'll see the bed transform gradually over a week or two. Allow these plants to grow until they reach the flowering stage but before they set seed. This timing is crucial. At flowering, the plants have accumulated maximum nutrients but haven't yet started redirecting energy to seed production. In most climates, this will be approximately 6 to 8 weeks after planting for a fall-sown mix. Now comes what the Amish farmer who taught me called the return, cutting down the green manure crop and returning it to the soil. Using a sharp sickle or garden shears, cut the plants at soil level, leaving the roots intact in the soil. Chop the above-ground portions into smaller pieces, about 3 to 4 inches long, and leave them right on the bed surface. Cover this plant material with a thin layer, about 1 inch of finished compost if you have it available. Then add a covering of straw or leaves as a protective layer. This layering mimics the natural forest floor and creates ideal conditions for decomposition. Over the winter months, remarkable transformations happen in your soil. The cut plant material breaks down, releasing nutrients. The roots left in the soil decompose, creating channels for air and water while feeding soil microorganisms. Earthworms and other soil fauna are attracted to this feast and begin to multiply, further improving soil structure. The cold season is actually when much of the real work happens. It's as if you've hired an invisible workforce that labors day and night to transform your dead soil into living earth. By spring, you'll find that the layer of cut plants has largely disappeared, having been incorporated into the soil by the combined action of decomposition and earthworm activity. When spring arrives, gently pull back any remaining mulch to allow the soil to warm. You'll likely observe a dramatically different soil texture, more crumbly, darker in color, and noticeably more alive. You may even spot earthworms where none existed before. Rather than tilling this newly revitalized soil, use a broad fork or garden fork to gently lift and loosen it without turning it over. This preserves the natural soil layers that have begun to establish. Your raised bed is now ready for planting, with a living soil ecosystem that will support robust plant growth. The Amish approach to soil health is never a one-and-done solution, but a continuous relationship with the land. To maintain the benefits of your restored soil, consider implementing a rotating schedule where portions of your garden receive the green manure treatment each year. Alternatively, use fast-growing cover crops like buckwheat during any gaps in your planting schedule, even if it's just for a few weeks between spring and summer crops. Remember to continue adding organic matter regularly. The Amish gardens I visited maintain their incredible soil fertility through consistent additions of small amounts of compost, rather than infrequent large applications. Think of it as feeding the soil consistently rather than binge feeding. What I find most beautiful about this Amish method is that it creates a self-reinforcing cycle of improvement. Each season of using these techniques builds upon the last, resulting in soil that becomes increasingly resilient and fertile over time. The Amish farmer who shared these methods with me was working soil that had been continuously improved by his family for over 7 generations, soil so rich and alive that it barely resembled the surrounding farmland. By adopting these methods in your raised beds, you're not just fixing a problem, you're establishing a living legacy that can continue to improve year after year. Your garden becomes not just a place where you grow plants, but a thriving ecosystem that works in partnership with you. If you've tried synthetic fertilizers and quick fixes with disappointing results, I encourage you to give this time-tested Amish method a chance. The results may not be instantaneous, but they will be deep, lasting, and continuously improving, just as nature intended. Thanks for joining me today on Hydrohaven. If you found this guide valuable, please hit that subscribe button and share this video with fellow gardeners who might be struggling with poor soil. Remember, we're not just growing gardens, we're cultivating living soil for generations to come. Until next time, happy gardening.